Respect. A feeling of admiring someone, something that is good, valuable, or important. That's the definition of respect. It hasn't changed in hundreds of years. What has changed is our execution of it. What has reduced is our execution of it. Now, disrespect has been around since the beginning of time, but I fear that today it grows more rapidly than ever. My source for this concern is watching the American youth, my peers, their treatment of each other, and their disrespect for their parents, and worst of all, for their elders, is unsettling. Their elders, who I'm seeing constantly disrespected, whether at work, where employees mock the elderly behind their backs, in school, where my friends complain that their grandparents screwed them over, or even in church, an institution based on compassion and love. I've seen kids buzz past seniors and yell at them to move faster. Now, I've seen this happen, and I ask myself, is this the level of disrespect that we've come to? Is that how these people deserve to be treated? And is that how anyone deserves to be treated? My resolution is this: we need to respect all people, all races, all groups, and all religions. Is it the truth? Yes. And I know what you're thinking. What a fool, what a dreamer, thinks he can change society. Well, I might be a fool for thinking this, but changing society and making it more respectful, that is a dream of mine. And it is an investment. It won't be easy. Many of you may ask why it's important, and say that disrespect is not a problem. It is important, and I worry it's growing. And we can change this. And I'll tell you, the reason we need to change it, and the reason we need to improve it, is because of question number 2. Because it is fair to all concerned. Disrespect is a recognition of humans, of what they've done and how they've struggled. How many of you wake up in the morning tired? You go to sleep with more to do. You're constantly struggling. And that's why we need respect and compassion, because the world isn't a utopia. And nothing is more unsettling than seeing the disrespect our youth has for our elders. And I'm not innocent of it. Personally, my grandfather suffers from chronic Alzheimer's. I rarely visit him, and when I do, he's often incapable of communicating. But there hasn't been a single time I've walked into his room, and I've walked out that door without having learned something. Because he's a smart man, and he'll teach you things. I remember one day I visited him, and he was lost in his memories. He believed he was in his 30s, panning for gold off rumors the town was sitting on. His friends were overcome with the idea of fortune, like kids searching for lost treasure. But I remember my grandfather constantly fidgeting. He was agitated. He kept saying, "Let's just go home. Let's just go home. What are we doing around here for anyways?" He taught me 2 things that day. First, never work so hard for something that means so little. Money. It's not worth it. And second, humans are inherently important. Because if a man with no memory, who can't remember who I am, or what time period he's in, can teach me a lesson so profound, then certainly we need to learn to respect all humans. Question number 3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? Absolutely. Like I said, humans are important, and they deserve this respect. We've all struggled, and we all need the sense of compassion and the closeness that respect brings us together. And I worry that the problem comes from competition. Now, I love competition. I'm not about to bash on one of America's foundations. But think about a game, a baseball game. There are 9 innings, both teams put in all their work. The practice, the training, every single game. And at the end of the game, there are 2 numbers on the scoreboard. One team won and one lost. But I'd argue that what's more important than that outcome, what's more important than that decision, is the handshake at the end of the game. The recognition of one another, of their struggle, of their efforts. Because progress without support, without respect, is hostility. It is conflict. And that is certainly something we do not want in society. Because we cannot become so twisted by the idea of success that we forget to work towards things that are hard, things like respect. Because number 4, it will be beneficial to all concerned. I don't know about you, but I've never heard someone say, "That man over there, he was so polite, it's horrible." Does he think he can do that everywhere? What a jerk. Of course not. Of course people don't say these things. Because respect is pleasant. it's courteous, it's polite, and these are things we need to preserve. So I'll leave you with this. Would you rather live in a society where people are isolated, where they're alone, where they're ignored? Or would you rather live in one where they're celebrated, where there's community and harmony? Would you rather live in a world where people hold doors for each other, or one where they let them shut in our faces? Respect.